The conference room at Nexus Biotech felt suffocating that morning, not because of its size, but because of what I knew was coming. I sat in my usual seat, watching my brother Michael parade in like he was already the CEO. He hadn't come alone, 2 corporate lawyers flanked him, and our father followed, wearing the smug pride he always reserved for his eldest son. "Emma," Michael said, his grin sharp and cold, "appreciate you pulling this together on short notice." I offered a neutral nod, my gaze shifting to the board members. They looked confused, uneasy. These were the same people who'd backed me 5 years ago when Nexus was nothing more than an idea scribbled on coffee shop napkins. Now we were leading the charge in targeted cancer treatment, and Michael had arrived to hijack the future. "As many of you know," he said, adjusting his designer tie, "Vertex Pharmaceuticals is actively acquiring innovative biotech ventures. What you don't know is that I've just been named their director of acquisitions." My jaw tensed. So that was his angle. "I've gone over Nexus's financials," he continued, motioning to one of his lawyers, who began handing out folders. "It's promising, but underfunded. Vertex can provide the capital you need to scale." Dr. Martinez, head of research and my fiercest ally, interjected, "We're days away from entering Phase AU trials." Michael waved her off like she was a minor inconvenience. "Sure, but let's be honest, Emma's passion project needs a professional's hand now." I remained still. I'd been hearing that tone my entire life. When I chose science over finance. When I bought lab equipment with my inheritance instead of a condo. When I missed his wedding to finish our first trial report. "Our offer is generous," the lawyer added. "All staff will be retained. Ms. Thorne will stay on in a consulting role." "How thoughtful," I said dryly. Michael's smile widened. "Don't worry, sis. I'll take good care of your little invention." Then came the dramatic moment. His lawyer unsnapped a folder and revealed the acquisition papers like a magician revealing the finale. The room quieted as they reviewed the documents. And then, a shift. The silence deepened. Michael leaned over, frowning. "There's a mistake." "Is there?" I said, finally breaking my silence. His lawyer flipped frantically through the pages. "These patents, they're not under Nexus. They're registered to Emma Thorne?" "Correct," I said. "I hold the patents personally." Gasps, murmurs, the color drained from Michael's face. "That's not possible." "The company licenses the technology from me," I clarified. "Filed with the patent office 3 years ago. You'd know that if you hadn't assumed your sister was too naive to protect herself." I stood, smoothing the hem of my dress. "Every breakthrough, every single advancement that makes our nanotech delivery system revolutionary, I own them, personally." Michael turned to our father. "Desperate now. Did you know about this?" Dad looked shaken, unsure. I didn't check. You said you had everything handled." "Oh, he handled what he wanted to see," I said coolly, lifting my tablet. "While you both underestimated me, I was busy installing legal safeguards." I turned to the board. "Given this attempted hostile takeover, I move to suspend the meeting. Our legal team will review Mr. Thorne's proposal before we reconvene." The board needed no convincing. They began filing out, murmuring among themselves. "You can't do this." Michael's voice cracked. "Vertex already announced the acquisition." I offered him a smile, this time. A real one. "Oh, I can." And I did. "But by all means, go explain to Vertex how you skipped basic patent verification on $1 billion tech." I reached the door, then turned. "And that consulting role you were so eager to offer me?" I met his eyes, unblinking. "I'll pass." The clunk of his leather briefcase hitting the floor was the last sound I heard as I stepped into the hallway. My phone buzzed. A message from Dr. Martinez. That was legendary. "What now?" I typed back without hesitation. "Now we show them exactly what they tried to steal." Because while Michael was busy playing corporate kingmaker, I was busy changing the world, and I was just getting started. I stepped into my private lab, the true heart of Nexus Biotech, the sanctuary where late nights, failed trials, and breakthrough moments converged into something extraordinary. On the main screen, our most recent trial results glowed, promising, precise, historic. This was the future of oncology, and it belonged to me. My phone buzzed again. Dad, this time, we need to talk. I let it ring into silence. They'd had years to talk, years to understand, to ask, to listen. Now, they could wait while I finished rewriting the future. Because the quietest person in the room isn't always quiet out of doubt. Sometimes, they're just too focused building the impossible to waste breath on the unimpressed. And I had work to do. The next morning, Vertex Pharmaceuticals opened the stock exchange with a 15% drop. Headlines exploded across the industry. Acquisition implodes amid patent scandal. Director of Acquisitions under fire at Vertex. I watched it unfold while reviewing real-time trial data. Tumor cells vanished on screen, obliterated by the same tech Michael had tried to steal. Dr. Thorne, Julia's voice chimed through the intercom. Your father's here. And something else. I glanced up. Go on. The NIA just called. They want to fast-track us. Apparently, someone sent them everything. I smiled faintly. So the encrypted upload had landed. Fascinating. Give Dad 10 minutes. He looked diminished standing in my lab. Thomas Thorne, the titan of capital, reduced to a man surrounded by machines he once dismissed. Vertex's board wants Michael to resign, he said without preamble. Not my concern. Emma, he's your brother. I adjusted a slide under the microscope. Was he my brother when he tried to steal my company? Or when he dismissed my life's work as a hobby? He said nothing. I didn't need him to. He didn't understand. Neither did you. I admit. I underestimated. Everyone did, I said, calmly adjusting the microscope. That was your mistake. I pointed at the screen. You know what this is? He shook his head. Targeted nanoparticle therapy. It sends medicine only to cancer cells. No more nausea. No more hair loss. No more collateral damage. 94% efficacy in late-stage trials. That's not science fiction. That's science. My science. That's incredible. No, I said. It's inevitable. And it's already happening. He tried again. Emma. Your 10 minutes are up. I turned to leave. Julia will show you out. He reached into his coat. Michael asked me to give you this. Triple the original offer. I took the folder, fed it directly into the shredder, and didn't break eye contact. Tell Michael I don't need his money. I have something better. What? I have results. After he left, I glanced at my phone. 3 missed calls from Michael, 2 from Mom, 1 text from Dr. Martinez. Dr. Martinez, big pharma vultures are circling. 5 offers this morning. Me, declined them all. We're staying independent. Because that's what I had fought for all along, not the payout, not the recognition, but the freedom to push the frontier of medicine without compromise. My phone rang again. Unknown number. Dr. Thorne, the voice was calm, practiced. This is Dr. Sandra Collins from the NIH. We've reviewed your trial data. It's revolutionary. Thank you. We're placing your treatment in the fast-track program. If all goes well, we're looking at approval before year's end. I glanced at the microscope. Cancer cells disintegrated in real time. That would be acceptable. She hesitated, then added, one more thing. The Nobel Committee has requested your full research documentation. I froze for a beat. The Nobel Prize. Not ambition, not revenge. Just the ultimate acknowledgement that I had done something that mattered. I'll send everything today. Later that day, I stood at the window of my lab. Across the skyline, I could see the Vertex Tower. Michael was probably boxing up the last of his belongings. In the glass, my reflection stared back, not the overlooked little sister, but Dr. Emma Thorne, revolutionary, scientist, founder, visionary. My phone lit up again. A final text from Michael. You've ruined me. Happy now? I typed back. I didn't ruin you. Your ego did that. But don't worry, when we cure cancer, I'll make sure you get a discount. Because sometimes, success isn't about shouting the loudest. It's about building something so undeniable, the world has to listen. 6 months later, I stood at the NIH press conference podium, cameras flashing like wildfire. Behind me, a giant screen displayed live footage of our nanoparticles destroying cancer cells, quietly, precisely, completely. This isn't just a treatment, I said into the microphone. It's a new chapter in medicine, and we're just getting started. The questions came fast. Dr. Thorne, how does it feel to be the youngest Nobel nominee in medical history? Will Nexus Biotech remain independent? Any comment on Vertex's bankruptcy filing? I answered each with the same clarity I'd brought to every decision along the way. Because this wasn't the end of the story. It was the beginning of a legacy. But the last question made me pause. Dr. Thorne, your brother Michael was recently quoted saying this technology was stolen from him. Any comment? I smiled slightly. The patent office records speak for themselves. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have patients waiting. Back in my office, Dr. Martinez was waiting with fresh results. The survival rate is holding at 96%, she said, handing over the report. It's unprecedented. I scanned the charts. The data didn't just confirm our success, it redefined it. Start prepping the documentation for our next project. Already done. She hesitated. Your mother's here. I looked up. Where? Reception. She's been there all morning, watching the press conference on TV. I sighed. Send her in. She hadn't changed much, still elegant, still immaculate, but there was something different in her eyes now. Something quieter. She looked around at the awards, the framed patents, the physical proof of everything she'd dismissed. I saw you on TV, she said softly. You were amazing. Thank you. Michael's not doing well. I know. Your father's trying to find a position for him at one of his companies. She twisted her wedding ring, an old nervous habit I hadn't forgotten. He never meant to? Yes, he did. I said it gently, but firmly. He meant to take what I built, because he never believed I could build anything worth taking. She looked down. We were wrong. From her bag, she pulled out a worn photo, me at 7, oversized safety goggles, mid-experiment with my first chemistry set. You were always different, she said. Always thinking, always quiet. We should have seen it. You saw what you wanted to see. I handed the photo back. A quiet girl who should be more like her ambitious brother. You never saw that I had ambitions, too. She held my gaze. And now? Now that you've proved us wrong, what are your ambitions? I turned to the window, where construction crews were breaking ground on Nexus Biotech's expanded research campus. Now, I'm going to cure more diseases, create more breakthroughs, save more lives, without your interference. I paused, softening. But if you want to understand the work, the lab tours are on Thursdays. She nodded, recognizing the olive branch. I'll be there. After she left, I returned to the lab, my real home. On my desk was a sealed letter from the Nobel Committee. I didn't open it. I didn't need their validation. I had something better, results. My phone buzzed. A message from Michael. Congratulations. I was wrong then, Dad. You've changed the world. Emma, I'm sorry I didn't see it sooner. Moments later, Dr. Martinez appeared. Ready to start the next revolution? I smiled, slipping into my lab coat. Always. Because success isn't just about patents, or headlines, or proving people wrong. It's about building something that matters, while everyone else is busy doubting you. And I was just getting started. 1 year later, Stockholm. I stood at the podium, accepting the Nobel Prize in Medicine. In the audience sat my family, not as critics, not as gatekeepers, but as witnesses. Witnesses to what happens when you underestimate the quiet ones. In my speech, I didn't mention the attempted takeover, or the betrayals, or the battles. I talked about the patients, thousands now living cancer-free. I talked about the frontiers still ahead, and I talked about the power of quiet resolve. Sometimes, I said, the most revolutionary breakthroughs come from the people no one sees coming, the ones working silently while others are scheming, the ones changing the world while others try to control it. Later that night, back in the Stockholm lab, I stared out the window. In the reflection, I saw the truth. Nobel laureate, CEO, scientist. The quiet girl who changed the world. My phone buzzed one last time, a message from a young researcher. Dr. Thorne, I think we found something in the Alzheimer's trials. I smiled, picking up my coat. Because this was never about proving them wrong. It was about proving what's possible when you stop listening to doubt and start listening to the quiet voice that says, discover, create, revolutionize. And I was still listening.